everybody, my name's Ian, I'm an artist. Welcome to my channel, and I love Star Wars. I've loved it since I was probably 5 when my friend introduced me to the LEGO Star Wars video games, and I think the only piece of Star Wars merch that I don't have is a shirt. I have a lightsaber, I made this. I have an astromech droid that I made, but I do not have a Star Wars shirt. Not a single one. My hair is crazy today, so bear with me. Anyways, on to what this video is actually about, and it is this. Not the helmet in particular. I made the helmet actually a while ago, I think it was last year, and I stopped there. I made it when the Mandalorian Season 2 came out, and I ordered this raw 3D print off of a guy on Macari, which is a buying and selling app. It's kind of like eBay-ish. He sold it to me for 60 bucks. It was a black filament that I sanded, primed, filled in, and this is my own custom design. This is my own custom Mandalorian. So this sat on a shelf for about a year, and then the Book of Boba Fett came out. Then the Book of Boba Fett Episode 5 came out. Got inspired again, so this whole week is going to be dedicated to me making armor, the rest of the armor for this Mandalorian original character. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Alright, I'm going to put the helmet on now. Let's do it.
Alright, so we're starting with some craft foam and a whole lot of passion. You're gonna need it. Get yourself a Sharpie. I measured my chest with the foam and then made this design out of it. This is half of it. You're gonna also want to trace the other side and cut it out. So in order to get that nice Mandalorian shape to the chest armor, I drew these lines in, and then I cut them out at a 45-degree angle on each side of the line. This is going to give you a little gap, a little channel, and then what you'll do is fill that with hot glue and keep the form. Then I cut this half diamond shape out of one side of the chest. There it is. And I got the other side of the chest, flipped it over, and cut the same thing. It's basically a mirror image. It's the easiest way to do this kind of thing. So this is what it looks like so far. If you find any imperfections in the armor or the way it fits, just trim it and move on with your life. So this is the part where I actually glue the chest piece and then proceed to hold it for about a minute, but it is a time lapse, thank the Lord. Awesome, so now that we have two sides formed, what I'm gonna do is take this thinner craft foam, and this is gonna be the center piece of the chest armor. I basically traced it out and then cut it. Now this was very tricky to glue. Just give yourself time, be patient with yourself, because that's how it'll turn out the best. After that, I cut out another diamond piece to go in the center. I carefully traced a rectangle in the center, and then I cut it out. Now moving on to the lower abdominal piece. This was probably the easiest piece to do because it was relatively flat. I basically cut out this shape, and with that, the front is almost done. Luckily, I didn't have to make shoulder armor this time. I just took it off of an old costume that I already had. If you ever find yourself in need of shoulder armor and you don't want to make it because the patterns are too involved, you can go to a hardware store and they have knee pads that are very, very useful for the same thing. Moving on to the back of the armor. I basically made more channel cuts, and this is actually me scoring the foam. Scoring is when you don't go all the way through with a knife, you just let it go on the surface, basically tracing out some detail, and then you'll find out what that's for later. This is what the scoring looks like on the front of the armor. I didn't do too much, just enough to add a little bit of detail so it looks like actual armor from the world of Star Wars, not just craft foam from some dude's basement. Now this beast is my heat gun. Yes, a Genesis heat gun from Amazon, $15.99 if you're interested. Basically what you're going to do is run the heat gun on a low setting over the scoring that you just did. This will shrink the pores of the foam, but also open up that channel and make it look bigger. It also heat seals the foam, so when you paint it, the foam isn't as porous and you're actually able to get nice smooth results. Alright, now that we're done with the front abdominal, chest, and back pieces, let's move on to the arms. So, naturally, I used my wrist and forearm as a reference to draw this shape out. Then I flipped it over to the back. These are the lines that you're going to cut. Do that same channel method where you go 45 degrees on each side of the line, and you'll be set. So yeah, just like the chest piece, these channels are going to give the forearm some shape. And without those channels, the foam can't bend as well. Then flip it over and repeat the exact same thing, only mirrored. Alright, so we're going to add elastic straps to these. It's just the easiest way to go. These are my reference lines, so I know where to cut. And I feeded it through and glued it to the inside. Make sure you sand the inside where you're gluing. You'll just get a better contact that way and they won't rip off. Alright, next we're going to add some detail. These pieces are just greeblies I cut out of foam. I essentially just looked at what made a Mandalorian bracer, and that's where I went with it. So for the other one, I kind of wanted a missile launcher look to it. These are foam dowels that I cut in half to add the detail, and this is what they look like. After that, I moved on to the knee armor. I only made one of these because, you know, asymmetry is very Star Wars. This is my rabbit Boomy. He's here to help with the shin piece, and this is what I came up with. These are my markings for the channel cuts I'm going to make. That's my dog, Tanner, who came to help with that. So here's what it looks like after I made the channel cuts and glued them. And this is after scoring and using my heat gun. Don't worry, the rabbit was far away from the heat gun. Alright, so with that, the armor is basically done for now. Tune in next time. That will be a video covering painting the armor and weathering it. And there will be one more after that. Anyways, thanks. Bye.